Well, Cat 7 here. Okay, it is Saturday, May 5th, 2018, and we're here in beautiful Sherman, Connecticut, and I'm at a place that's just adjacent to the Mallory area back behind me. Okay, there's private property up to the right here, private property up to the left, and we have the Sawmill Brook here as we've been following around. Okay, and here is the third blown up dam. And I know some people are going to say, well, why a blown up dam? Well, what is a blown up, what's about a blown up dam or whatever? Well, in 1926, when the power plant was built here near New Milford over there on the side of the Housatonic River, they created Candlewood Lake. Candlewood Lake is an artificial lake. And what the power company needed to do for the purposes of the power plant was to fill that area up with water. And they went around the whole valley here to all the streams and brooks and made sure that they were clear. No beaver dams, no obstructions, no anything to prevent water from coming into Candlewood Lake and creating Candlewood Lake and, you know, constantly feed Candlewood Lake, because of the nature of the power plant and the way that it operates. So anyway, that is the reason for the blown up dams. Now originally when I first came here, you can see in my second video, I go over it a little bit, show it a little bit. I'm on the other side now than I was in the video I made a few years ago. And we're looking at that over there on the Mallory side over there, okay? Now we're on this side. So I'm just going to take the camera off here. I want to show you a few things over here. I mean, this is just magnificent. We've got a beautiful bay, and everything is looking gorgeous over here. If you listen real close, you can hear the brook talking to you. Okay, so here you see the blown up dam. There's a little bit of a dry laid build in that corner over there. And if you really look close around this whole embankment here, is nothing but stone. It looks like it's built with nothing but stone. Far down as you can see over here. And in here you see this dam with these boulders here. Now, this one here probably weighs as much as a car. You know, and those do too. And you can see these bigger boulders. This was all part of this dam over here. Some fell back, some fell forward. But the first time I was here, I said that I noticed mortar in there. And there's a bit of mortar over here too. But after looking at this, and you know, being a person that's worked with concrete, mortar, building, etc., I think that it's just patches. Those are just patches, because if you really look at the walls and what the dam is built out of and how the dam is built, it's mostly dry laid stone. So I was only able to find mortar in the very top here and a little bit on the side over here. Other than that, it's completely dry laid stone. And there are some massive stones in there. So I'm thinking again, this is another Aboriginal dam that was here. It was adopted by the settlers in this area. They tried to patch it up with cement. And even down there where the big rocks are, it looks like they put a tube through there and reinforced it with cement after the fact, because the rest of the construction here is completely dry laid. No evidence of mortar over here, but until you get to here and you see some mortar here. Now, if I dammed upstream over here, that would make this dry, and I could work on this and put mortar in there at a later date if I wanted to, because apparently the Aboriginal people who made these dams just allowed them to clog up. So I mean, you know, maybe the settlers wanted to operate a little differently. It could have been used to float timber. You know, if they dammed this up over here, they could float timber down here closer to the mill. They wouldn't have to drag it through the rocky terrain over there. It's possible. And it's possible that the Aboriginal peoples were also harvesting timber in a similar fashion. You know, so we don't know, but I can tell you this. After looking again at this, there's only mortar in the top. Some mortar down here. It's not even the same mortar. That's a gray mortar. This is like a like a tan mortar in there, and the rest of the stuff is all dry laid. Let me show you the side of this thing here. Look at that. Look at all this great stuff over here. And you can see in here all the different shims and wedges, and it's very complicated in here. And there's huge stone in here. Absolutely huge stone. And you can see this is a little bit of a causeway at a right angle here. Okay, where it sort of leads up into here and down over here. So certainly this could be for watering your animals, for your own purposes, you know. I mean, obviously this is a whole build out over here with a dam. And not only that, I mean, you could cross over the top of the dam. So let's look at this over here. So we have this wall that comes down over here of the archaic variety, another opening over there. Wall comes down over here. And you have this opening over here, this opening down to the brook over here. And then this is a piece of the wall that connects into the dam over here. And you can see it's built with some mighty stones over here. Very nice construction, but in the archaic style. And here again, white rock. Look at that, Jim. That right there is a beauty. Really nice. And it's funny, you can see this stone from a great distance away through these woods over here. It sticks out like a sore thumb. So here's the top of this build out, and you can see it's wide over here. Actually, there's stones over here that sort of end and go nowhere. Then you have this, it goes down that way along a straight line, and then it comes up onto the dam over here. And again, no evidence at this part of the dam of any mortar whatsoever, only repairs. Look at that stone, looks like it's getting ready to fall. So I think this was repaired with mortar or secured with mortar at a later date to be utilized. You can see mortar on the surface at the top of the other side, smoothed on the top there. But as I said, the rest of the wall is completely dry laid. So I mean, if you're using mortar, I mean, just going to use it on the top and the bottom and nowhere in between, it doesn't make sense. So I think those were like repairs or modifications done at a later time for the people in this area to utilize this. Again, like I said, in the middle of the summertime, in the late summer, there's no water here to get. So that's no good. So I would imagine damming this place up, whether you were aboriginals or settlers or whatever it is, was a pretty prudent thing to do. So anyway, wanted to show you that. There's the bend down there. If you go further right around that corner is where you can see that major retaining wall where I was hanging with the stones in that video that I posted. And that's a major 6-7 foot high, you know, 30-40 feet long wall of a build out of stone. So very cool. And this thing is just awesome. Look at this thing. Again, you can see, all right, dry laid stone, and then you'll see the wedges in here, and you know, typical to the sort of building techniques we've seen everywhere, including that old ruin that I found by New Milford there, very similar to that, and with, you know, just gigantic stones over here, gigantic, that need to be lifted by crane and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know, make of it what you want. But I think these Aboriginal peoples were building dams, you know, completely consistent with, you know, keeping water, any sort of agriculture. And remember, if you watch the film by the lady the professor from Cornell that I posted, the Indians, the Native American people were expert farmers. And the colonists and settlers were completely inept, okay? So you have the Aboriginal peoples being master farmers, and you have the settlers and colonists completely inept at growing anything. So they learned a lot from the Indians. And you can hear her talk about 500-acre farms along the St. Lawrence River, okay? And during the Revolutionary War, Washington sent people up there to burn those farms. So those 500-acre farms were producing 1 million bushels of corn each. So, I mean, I want you to think about that, and I want you to think about the high level of organization it takes to run 500-acre farms, and the high level of organization that's required to distribute it, etc. And you have to think, if they're producing more food than they could really use, then it makes sense that they might be exporting it elsewhere to the other peoples in other lands throughout the United States. So if you're producing that much stuff, corn, beans, squash, and it's more than your immediate population can use, then I would imagine that you're probably exporting it elsewhere. And I think the walls have something to do with that. Not in every area. Like here, I think this was an administrative and spiritual area, not so much the distribution area, but I think the distribution area was down in the valley where Candlewood Lake is. And 90% of the walls in this area, 90%, are underwater in that lake. Okay.